As I sat there on Sunday watching Super Bowl 54, I couldn't help but think, what do the Bills have to do to win Super Bowl 55? Welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to this off-season edition of Believers Talk, where I'm going to let you know my one key this off-season that's going to propel the Buffalo Bills for a chance to appear and win in Super Bowl 55. Again, my name is Joe. If you're new to the channel, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. After you hit that subscribe button, you want to hit that notification bell. Notifies you when we post new Bills and Buffalo sports content, and also hit that like button and leave a comment. What do you think the Buffalo Bills need to do this offseason in order to have a shot at winning Super Bowl 55? Again, I have broken down to one thing, guys, one main thing that the Buffalo Bills need to do. Now, there could be subcategories within this one thing, and we're going to talk about some of those subcategories before I talk about the one thing that the Buffalo Bills need to do. And we're going to start with the wide receiver position, okay? I know a lot of people, I see a lot of mock drafts already for the Buffalo Bills, even McShay and Kuiper, saying that the Buffalo Bills are going to go wide receiver with the first round draft pick in the 2020 NFL draft. And I'm just not sure if I'm on board with that. And you can let me know in the comment section. Let me know if I should be on board with the Buffalo Bills picking up a wide receiver in the first round, or if you like my line of thinking, which I'm going to discuss with you right now. So we look at the wide receiver position, and here we are, February 5th, 2020, and I think that the way our wide receiving core looks right now is a lot better than what looked at a year ago at this time, right? Talk about the addition of Cole Beasley in free agency. Talk about the addition of John Brown in free agency. Has definitely helped out with the wide receiver position. You have John Brown getting over 1,000 yards this season for the Buffalo Bills. First wide receiver to do that since Sammy Watkins did it in 2015. So it's been a little while since we've had a 1,000-yard receiver. So obviously that part is looking up. So why does that mean that we do not need to draft a wide receiver in the first round? Simple, because the wide receiver depth this year at the NFL draft is huge. Absolutely a huge line of wide receivers, and we're not going to get one of those elite guys, right? We're not going to get a first or second wide receiver on the board, right? The one or two guys, unless we go up and trade in the draft. We're not going to get a Judy from Alabama or whoever is out there. We're going to look at maybe a Higgins, maybe a Pittman, if we are looking at a first round wide receiver. And I'm not saying they're not talented players, they are, but are there more talented players out there? If other teams are reaching for for wide receivers, then why don't we pick a position that's maybe getting forgotten about that fills a need as well? Remember, we still have a bunch of needs. You're talking about that offensive line, talking about possibly defensive end, talking about another cornerback. We still have a lot of needs to address. So if there's not a good enough wide receiver to pick at 22, why force the issue? And besides, there's plenty of wide receivers later on that you could pick up that can fill the need that the Buffalo Bills need. And what do the Buffalo Bills need at wide receiver? We need a tall guy, right? Talking about Duke Williams being the tallest wide receiver on the Buffalo Bills depth chart at wide receiver at 6'2". We need a guy who can go up and get it, a 6'6 guy, 6'5 guy, and there's plenty of those in the NFL draft who are going to be available day 2, day 3, who we could pick up and put in that wide receiver position right away. So do we need to focus on wide receiver in the first with our first round pick? I don't think so. Also, look back at what Coach McDermott said last year in the offseason when he declared that he believes that a team can win without a true number one receiver. And if he truly believes that, then he shouldn't be using first round picks on wide receivers. We saw last year in the NFL draft, everyone thought DK Metcalf, Brown, Hollywood Brown, they all thought they would go in the first round. We waited until almost the middle to the end of the second round before we saw our first wide receiver taken off the board. So just because it's a heavy wide receiver draft class, just because there's a lot of talent out there, that does not necessarily mean that they're going to go early. And if there's a lot of wide receivers still available, then I say we skip out on it and pick up a wide receiver later. And if people are forcing the issue and picking up wide receivers earlier, then we should not be chasing talent. We should get the guys that are available at 22 that fit that spot, that still fill a need on another part of the team, whether it be offensive line, cornerback, or defensive end, whatever the case may be. So that's my argument for not necessarily picking up a wide receiver with the 22nd overall pick. Now, listen, if Judy falls to us at 22nd or someone else of that caliber falls to us at 22nd and the wide receiver is the best position available, take it. I'm not saying not to, but I just find that that's going to be hard to believe at number 22 that wide receiver is the best player available that fits a need for this Buffalo Bills team. Do I think we need to pick up a wide receiver in this draft? Absolutely. But does it have to be in the first round? I don't think so. If you take a look at last year's draft, we did not pick up a wide receiver in the first 7 rounds. The only wide receiver note that we added to our team ended up not playing for us after we cut the roster down to 53 guys. And to me, that would be Snead from West Virginia, a guy that was on our 90-man roster and then got cut when we had to make our 53-man cut towards the beginning of the year. So again, I see us picking up a wide receiver in the draft. I really do. I just don't see it being a first-round guy. I see us looking more offensive line when it comes to our first-round draft pick, and that's a position of need as well. Guys, I know that the offensive line improved for the Buffalo Bills this past season. In 2018, Pro Football Focus has ranked as the 29th best offensive line in football. We move up to 21st, okay? So we move up 8 spots. That's a good place to be, but we need to continue to improve, okay? We need to continue to look to try to get inside the top 15, maybe even flirt with the top 10 if we want to be considered legitimate playoff and Super Bowl contenders heading into the 2020-2021 NFL season. I want to see this offensive line continue to improve. I know that we got Le'Adrian Waddle. I know that we got Quentin Spain. I know that we got Ty Nsekhe. I know that we got a lot of offensive linemen last year during free agency. And guys, I don't expect there to be as many players signed in free agency by the Buffalo Bills, but I expect to see maybe 1 or 2 splash names, maybe an Ngakoue, right? Maybe a Greg Olsen who's going to come visit, maybe some splash names who will really help this team out. But I don't see us signing 25 to 30 free agents like we did last offseason. I think that's just an anomaly. Getting rid of 4 of our 5 starting offensive linemen. Don't think that's going to happen going into next season either. But obviously, we never know with Brandon Beane. We never know with Coach McDermott what's going to happen. I look forward to watching it. I hope you guys look forward to watching it too. And again, we're going to have you up to date right here on Believers Talk. So make sure if you haven't subscribed, remember to hit that subscribe button. Like this video. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. But let's talk about my key, right? The one thing that needs to improve for the Buffalo Bills to have a shot at Super Bowl 55. And I think a lot of you know where I'm going with this. A lot of you will have the same number one concern. That's going to be Josh Allen, starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, heading into his 3rd year. This is going to be the make or break it year for me when it comes to Josh Allen. Now, guys, I like Josh Allen, okay? Before anyone gets on me, comments about how Josh Allen's the guy, I want Josh Allen to be the guy. But he hasn't proven it yet. A lot of Bills fans think he's already proven that he is the guy. A lot of people already think that he hasn't proven that he's the guy. I'm still on the fence, okay? I think that he has the drive. I think he has the determination. I think he has the will to win. And those are some of those unmeasurables, right, that you just see on the field. Every time you see him against Dallas, picking up that fumble, getting that first down, that drive that he has to pick up the ball that Duke Williams scored the game-winning touchdown against Tennessee, find Duke Williams in the tunnel, chase him down, tell him I love you, and hand him the ball, right? Those are those unmeasurables. Those are the things that you want to see out of a franchise quarterback. But what about the measurables? Because, guys, believe it or not, when you're talking about a Super Bowl quarterback, the measurables matter. So I've taken a look at the history. I went back 10 years, right, all the way back to 2010, and I've looked at all of the quarterback play from the Super Bowl winning teams, the quarterbacks that they had. Going back to 2010, you look at Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Nick Foles, Tom Brady, and now Patrick Mahomes. And they all have a few things in common that Josh Allen just has not done yet, okay? So if you take a look at those seasons, the worst completion percentage of all those seasons was Nick Foles and Carson Wentz. Remember, Carson Wentz and Nick Foles both shared the load in 2017. Carson Wentz had an MVP-like season until he went down around week 12, I believe it was. Nick Foles comes in and basically rights the ship until the playoffs start, and then all of a sudden he catches fire. and then the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Nick Foles is Super Bowl MVP. But if you look at them in the regular season, they had a combined completion percentage of 59.5. In the last 10 years, guys, that's the lowest of a Super Bowl winning quarterback, is 59.5% completion percentage, followed by Brock Osweiler and Peyton Manning at 59. Joe Flacco in 2012 with 59.7, then followed in 2015 by Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler with 59.8. Where did Josh Allen rank in 2019? He was at 58.8, almost a full percentage, 1% behind those guys. And again, that was the lower scale. Those were the lowest in the last 10 years. So he needs to get that completion percentage up a little bit. And I know some of you might be saying, guys, Joe, it's 1%. What is 1%? Remember, guys, this is a game of inches, right? This is a game of inches. This is a game of 1%, okay? This is the difference between a possible playoff quarterback and a possible Super Bowl quarterback. And I want the Super Bowl quarterback. If you look at the last 10 years, the average over the last 10 seasons for completion percentage during the regular season, it's 63.2% for the winning quarterbacks of the Super Bowl, okay? Not only that, if you look at the yards, the average yards over the last 10 seasons, 3,924.8 yards. Where was Josh Allen last season? Barely over 3,000, 3,088. Now, some of you might be saying, that's why we need a wide receiver in the first round. We need a playmaker. Some of you might be with me and saying, that's why we need a better offensive line. Give Josh Allen more time to find those wide receivers downfield to get more yards. Some of you might be saying, hey, the Bills are a run-first team. We don't pass the ball. To that, I would say, look at the Denver Broncos from 2015. Because I promised you, when Brock Osweiler was playing, they were a run-first team, relying on that big-time defense, that dominant defense. And guys, I believe, and I think a lot of you would agree with me, we have a Super Bowl defense. We have a Super Bowl winning team defense. We just need that offense to catch up. And there's plenty of ways to go about that, but it starts with Josh Allen. You have to get more consistent at quarterback. You have to get more consistent quarterback play. Guys, 58.8% is just not good enough. And now I know he went up 6% between his rookie year and his second year, right? He was only at 52%, his 52.8% his rookie year in 2018. 2019 moved up 6 percentage points. You go up 6 more percent in that, and then you're talking about 64.8%, which is above that 10-year average that I was talking about, okay? That puts you up there with a Tom Brady in 2014, with his 64.1%. That's what we want to see. We'd love to see a 64% completion percentage from Josh Allen. Not sure if he's going to bump up again that much, but we want to see an improvement. Would love to see him over 60% for the season next year. Would love to see him over 3,500 yards. Because remember, guys, I said this last season during the offseason. I predicted the Bills would go 11-5, but I said anything above 8-8 to me was a decent season. I had low expectations for the Bills, or average expectations for the Bills going into last season. I have huge expectations for the Bills going into the 2020-21 NFL season. Josh Allen's third year as a quarterback. We now have young players with playoff experience. I expect the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC East in 2020. You talk about a declining New England Patriots team. You talk about a team in the Miami Dolphins who is beginning to rise again. 3 first-round draft picks after doing the rebuild last year. They might become a much better team in the next few years. But remember, after you get all those pieces, you have to make sure they all come together. So it may take another year or two for that to happen. But the Dolphins might be on their way if they can get the right draft picks, but I just don't think they're there yet. And a Jets team that has a few star players, but doesn't have the talent all around and the depth that the Bills do. I think the Bills should be the favorite to win the AFC East in 2020. In my opinion, that's how I feel. Barring injury, of course, you always have to worry about that. But you think about Tom Brady and his decline, I think Josh Allen should do better than Tom Brady if Tom Brady stays with the Patriots going into next season as well. That's how much I expect out of this Buffalo Bills team. Again, you look at Josh Allen, his third year, continue to want to see that improvement because there's no excuses. You have the same offensive coordinator. You have the same quarterbacks coach for 2 years now with Ken Dorsey. You have a lot of the same guys around you. There's no more excuses. There's no more, oh, we have 9 out of 11 new offensive starters. That shouldn't be the case going into next season. We should have a pretty good idea of who our offense is going to be going into the preseason and have plenty of time for him to work out any kinks at that time. So Josh Allen is my key to the Buffalo Bills in their improvement next year, in their chances to make it to Super Bowl 55. Vegas has us as a 41-1 shot to make the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl, I should say. I think we have a good chance. I think you should put some money on Josh Allen. I think you should put some money on the Buffalo Bills. Again, Josh Allen's third year needs to be his make or break season. This is the year, going into his third year, this is the year where I let you know what I think about Josh Allen as far as being a franchise guy. At the end of this year, I want to see the Buffalo Bills looking at extending Josh Allen. I want to see Josh Allen succeed because if he succeeds, obviously the Buffalo Bills succeed. If the Bills succeed, we're all happy. So again, guys, thank you for joining me on this edition of Believers Talk. Again, let me know what you think. What are the keys to the Buffalo Bills this offseason? Obviously, I'm going to be with you the whole way, giving you free agency news, keeping you up to date on the NFL draft, throwing some mock drafts out there so you guys can laugh at them and say, there's no way we're doing yada, 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 yada. And then I can look at your mock drafts and do the same for you. It's going to be fun the whole way around, and you know we got you covered right here. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video. Like I said, leave a comment. Let me know what you think are the keys to the Bills' success in the 2020-2021 NFL season. I look forward to talking to you all soon, guys. This Thursday, I will be going live for the Buffalo Sabres game against the Detroit Red Wings. So if you're a fan of Buffalo sports, if you're a fan of the Buffalo Sabres, I know they've been letting us down a lot. Believe me, they've been letting me down too. But join me. Join the conversation on Thursday. We can talk about the Sabres. We can even talk about the Bills a little bit, talk about Buffalo sports. Again, thank you guys for joining me. I look forward to talking to you all then. Seeing you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.